Mine does look bad. What the hell going on? I don't know what that's about, but I got to get that checked out. This is Sports for Real. I just want to come on a few minutes and talk about a few things I see that's going on in the sports world. Those of you who are Jaguar fans, and I'm not. I just happen to be in Jaguar territory. I got the news yesterday that former Michigan quarterback and ex-Jaguar, Florida resident, or Florida native, Denard Robinson, he has been let go by Michigan because he got arrested in April for what they call OWI, and that is operating a vehicle while intoxicated. Well, that sounds to me like a DUI, but they don't call it that up there. They call it OWI, but it's the same effect. And according to Michigan, evidently, if you get arrested for such things, then that is grounds for termination. Robinson becomes the second coach in Michigan in the last couple of months since new head coach Sharon Moore has taken over to be let go. And you can't say it's for cloudy reasons, because it's clear that if you violate this policy at Michigan, you're going to be let go. But it's kind of disappointing for Robinson because you seem to be doing pretty well up there. Been offensive coordinator and not offensive analyst and doing all different kind of things, the same thing he did here in Jacksonville after his playing career ended. But the intoxication part is what relates him to what took place here in Jacksonville. If you go back, the 2015 year was the last time you seen him play for the Jaguars. That summer, July of 16, some kind of way his car ended up in one of those retention ponds. And if you're familiar with Jacksonville, it was over off Beach and Southside right there. He's just wrapped up some more construction in that area, so it looks a little bit different now. But right there, when you come out of like the Walmart and then turning south on Southside Boulevard, right there, that's where you had this incident where they found him and his vehicle partly submerged into the retention pond. But they said that he was not intoxicated. Well, if he's not intoxicated, how did his car end up in the pond? Well, there's several things that could have happened to him. Maybe he was driving home late at night from a club and he fell asleep. Or he could have just been driving and fell asleep. Now, for somebody who has fallen asleep before on the highway, I've done it a couple times, and I know that you only can do that but so many times before you can't get away with it no more. Sometimes you just be tired and you just zone out, but never to the point where you don't instantly wake up. In my case, you know, those little reflectors in the road. If you ever been between Mobile and say Hattiesburg on 98, it was two-lane road at the time. It's been a long time since I've been that way, but they got those reflectors in the road, and just so happened I was on a straight stretch when I zoned out, and those reflectors, because I was riding directly in the middle of the road, my tires were hitting those reflectors, and it woke me up. I don't think I was out for very long, but it was long enough to be catastrophic. But regardless, I woke right up. He didn't wake right up. So it leads me to believe that even though reports say he wasn't intoxicated, he had to be under some kind of influence. And I think because he was affiliated with the Jaguars, they kind of like swept that under the rug. But the thing that you didn't see anymore was Robinson playing for the Jaguars after that. He didn't play anywhere in 2016. He had a couple tryouts in the following year, but he never did catch back on in the NFL. What he ended up doing was taking a job with the Jaguars and stayed there a couple of years, and then somehow he ended up in Michigan. But I just think it's kind of funny that now he's got an intoxication issue in Michigan, and he had the same kind of thing here. Here they swept it under the rug. Michigan, they didn't do that. So I wonder how much favor he got here in Jacksonville when that happened to him. Did he actually get some preferential treatment? This time he didn't get it, and that's just the way it goes. When you're playing and people look up to you and you're all over the place, they try to look out for you, but sometimes they turn on you. You're not playing anymore? Hey, you did this to yourself, pal. You got away with it one time. Now here you are doing the same thing. It's time for you to learn something behind this. But hopefully Mr. Robinson would bounce back and he end up somewhere. He's got enough of a resume that he should be fine. I mean, a lot of coaches have done things far worse than been driving under the influence or operating a vehicle while intoxicated. They've done things worse than what he's done, so they came back and got jobs, and I think he'll get another job somewhere else. The other thing that's bothering me is the NBA playoffs. I'm not really, I won't say that. I'll say this. The NBA playoffs are interesting, especially if you are one with an analytical mind. Take the Nuggets and the Timberwolves. The first two games of that series, Denver's, the big man, Jokic, he couldn't do nothing. And they got beat up pretty good. Those young boys were running up and down the floor and it looked like they were going to run the Nuggets off in 4 games. They won the first 2 games on Denver's home floor. Go to Minnesota, and all of a sudden, where Jokic couldn't do nothing, now he can't be stopped. So they come back and they win the 2 games. Last night, they won at home to go up 3-2. The point is, the NBA gives you these playoff series. Well, you know who the better team is, but the longer these series goes, it's better for the NBA. So I wonder if the league goes to these teams and say, look here, man, we know you're a better team. We want you to carry this team for 5 or 6 games. Make it interesting. Maybe you, Denver, you can fall down 2-0 and then come on back and win the series. Because, you know, they're not going to beat you 2 out of the remaining 5 games. So you can stand a 0-2 hole. Everybody gets all excited, and they want to see if the champions are going to get knocked off in the second round. It's not out of the question that something like that can happen. And the way that these games suddenly change, and all of a sudden, the thing you couldn't do before, you can do everything you want now. Another example, the Knicks. New man, good morning, how you doing? What do you think got the next game? Great point. Well, let me finish my point first. The Knicks and the Pacers. Here the Knicks, they get all running up and down the floor, and they beat the Pacers when it counted the most because it seemed like they wanted the most. I thought that the Pacers weren't going to get past 5 games. But they go back to Indianapolis, and then now all of a sudden the Knicks, they can't do what they were doing before. I never could understand how a change of venue makes the difference in how these NBA teams play. Come back last night, and all of a sudden, it's like they're playing against a college team, and they blow out the Pacers. You can't play on the road, but you won 3 games at home. So now you're up 3-2. Watch and see if the Pacers don't come back and win a fantastic Game 6. It's going to go to Game 7, and then the Knicks are going to blow out the Pacers again. That's just the way these series unfold, and it's been going on like this for years. You can't tell me that the adjustments that these coaches are making, because they're very few, first of all, you know these teams because you play them 4 or 5 times in a year. You already know who you're going up against. You already got your game plan set before you even get anywhere near the playoffs. And yet, it's an up and down like it's great theater. Seems like to me it's scripted. I've heard this before, and the more I keep watching these games and the way things unfold, it's obvious to me what's going on. And a lot of people who don't normally pay attention to these kind of things, they're talking about the same kind of things. Now, you have other series like Boston and Cleveland. Yes, Cleveland won a game, but now they're down 3-1. The other series, OKC, who has an opportunity to make it to the finals, they are in a battle with the Mavericks. They're tied up 2 apiece. So tonight when they play, they're trying to take the advantage in that series. I still think it's going to be OKC and Denver playing against Boston in the finals. But it just smells funny in the way that these things unfold. So don't have much to talk about. Let's see what Newman is talking about. How you doing, SJB? Nice to see you again. But I think that Denard Robinson, it's kind of funny that he's got the same issues in Michigan 8 years later after having an intoxication question right here in Jacksonville when he ran his car into that retention pond off Beach Boulevard in Southside. He swept that under the rug. Now he's got another intoxication problem up here in Michigan because the other coach got fired for a similar thing. They had to fire him too. They couldn't just sweep that under the rug. So he'll bounce back, like I said. He got enough of a resume that he can find a job somewhere. If nothing else, he can get into high school coaching, where people are leaving the profession. He can be able to find a job, no problem. Won't make much money, especially in Florida, but he can get a job. And the NBA, they should try to be less obvious in what they're trying to sell the public. But like I always told you, and I'll leave you with this, NBA, any kind of basketball is just something to do until the football comes back around. And once the NBA playoffs are over, this year we got the Olympics, the Tour de France, and next thing you know, training camps are open, and then we forget all about this NBA crap, regardless of what they're trying to feed you with the WNBA and all that kind of stuff. Football is king. It will always be king. And if they're not careful with all these rule changes, they're going to blow it. Well, unless they blow it, football is always going to be up here, and everybody else is just sitting down waiting to see what's going to happen. But, like I said, you guys have a great day. I got to go to work. This has been Sports for Real. Subscribe, hit me up, send me some comments. I'm willing to banter with anybody about anything I might have to say about sports because I've been following this stuff for over 40 years. This has been Sports for Real. Have a great day.